Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my channel if this is your first time. This is my first ever story time and I'm really excited because that's actually how I got interested in YouTube, was finding random story times and specifically birth stories, pregnancy updates, all those things was what first got me into watching YouTube. So I thought, what better way than to share with you the story of my first son being born. So if you don't know, I have 2 children. I just gave birth to my second son not even 2 months ago when I'm filming this. So that story is very fresh in my mind, but I wanted to go back to the story of my first son being born because it's just a really amazing story and I don't want to forget it as time goes on either. I just want to make a disclaimer that anything I am telling you about my experience, I am not giving you advice to do. I am just telling you this is what happened to me and what I chose to do. Some things I would do differently, but can't go back. So this is my actual story. So first off, I wanted to have a natural birth. I did lots of just research and just watching people's experiences and hearing stories. I just really felt like having a natural birth made sense to me and in my situation. And I'm a big believer that whatever kind of birth you want can be an amazing birth. And I think it's just about educating yourself and being as informed and aware as you can be. I don't advise like reading horror stories or anything like that, but just knowing what's common and what's to be expected so that you feel prepared as best as you can. Because I think the biggest fear with birth in general is just the unknown. And I mean, there's no changing that. You can't know what it's like till you go through it, but I think that you can set yourself up for success. So for me, after just lots of research and everything, I came to the conclusion that I really wanted a doula because I was really, really scared. I was terrified of giving birth, and all the stats pointed to like people have better experiences, better births if they have a really strong, supportive female presence with them, and doulas just are a really great way to go. It was a hard decision for us financially, but it just was something I really felt was worth it. And so we had a friend recommend a doula to us, and I met with her maybe like once or twice before we ended up having birth. So now the actual birth story. So I would not recommend this, but I was 38 weeks pregnant and I was really, really miserable, which probably most people are really miserable at 38 weeks pregnant regardless. But I had had preterm labor at 33 weeks and had been hospitalized. And basically for the following weeks, I was just walking around really miserable, constantly having contractions, just really uncomfortable. And so I heard someone in my family tell me about castor oil, and that was the only time I really didn't research. I probably looked on Google for about 10 minutes and I was like, you know what, I'm 38 weeks pregnant, let's just get this baby out of me. And so literally my husband went out and bought castor oil that night, and I took castor oil at 10:30 at night. What I didn't know, and I do know now, is that not everyone has the same reactions to it. So some people, it just makes them really nauseous. Most people, it makes you just sit on the toilet for a long time. So it like completely cleans you out. And I took it, at 10:30, and then an hour later, after sitting on the toilet for an hour, I was in labor, and I was really freaked out because I was like, what did I do? I should have thought through this more. Clearly wasn't thinking straight. It was like in the middle of the night now, or at least late at night. And so I called my doula, and literally as she was talking to me, she had me do a relaxation breath. And in my relaxation breath, my water broke, and I knew it broke. I was sure, but I didn't tell her. And then a couple hours later, I started freaking out, of course, Googling it again and being like, I called her back and I said, it says that we're supposed to go to the hospital if my water breaks. And she said, hey, it's up to you. You know, it's your decision what you want to do. Like, I can come to your house. And so I ended up having her come over and we did lots of different stuff. Like, she had me labor in the shower. She had me labor just on like the ball. She had me eat in between contractions. She was really great and helpful. Like, she just made me feel so taken care of and gave me direction because I was definitely feeling overwhelmed. And she even had Caleb take a nap during it, which I was like, okay. But it was good because it was the middle of the night. And so I feel like I was kind of in this, I don't know, this place of solace. And I guess what I didn't say before is I hadn't really known if I wanted anyone else to be at my labor besides Caleb and besides the doula. But I honestly just kind of never thought about it once it started. I think I was just in my own world. I was just very internal about this labor, and I don't think she was even aware of like where I was at mentally. Like, every time my doula would check in with me, I was kind of like, I don't know. And so she ended up making me this kind of cool pillow fort on my bed and trying to get me to sleep. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to sleep. And I got on the bed and everything seemed to actually get worse, where the pain was so intense, like in my back, that it felt like when the contraction would stop, it would feel like it was still going. And so I felt like I wasn't getting a break. And I finally looked at her and I said, hey, like, I can't do this anymore. I am overwhelmed. And she told me to go sit on the toilet and labor on the toilet. And so I did, and the moment I sat down, my contractions changed, and all of a sudden I was like, you know, it kind of doesn't hurt as bad, and actually feels kind of nice. Like, it still hurt, but there was something relieving in it. And so I just thought, just focus on this nice, happy feeling, and like, just focus on that good feeling. And all of a sudden she comes in the room and she's like, Shayna, are you pushing? And I realized, oh, I am. Like, it hadn't even occurred to me what was happening. I've obviously never, you know, given birth before. And the moment she said that and I realized it, we both were like in freak out mode. And at this point, I was completely naked. I have really bad vision and I wasn't wearing glasses or contacts or anything. She grabbed me a bathrobe. So I threw it on. I threw on some flip-flops. We left the house. It was like 8 in the morning at this point, 7 something in the morning, and it was freezing cold outside. And we ran outside into the car, and she was like yelling at Caleb, like, go, 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 run through this red light, run through that red light, like, just get her to the hospital, because it was about 15 minutes away. And then to me, she was like rolling down the windows, and she was screaming, you're not safe, like, don't push. And it was weird because I realized, like, I could not control it. I could not stop the pushing. Once it came, it was so overwhelming. Like, it was such an irresistible urge to push. And so I was like stomping on the floor of the car, trying to get myself to stop. And I was completely convinced, like, we were going to have this baby right in the car. Luckily, we made it to the hospital, and she like rolled me in on a wheelchair and she was like, get this girl in a room right now, like, she's having a baby right now. And they're like, okay, let's have you fill out some paperwork. And she's like, no, you don't understand, like, she is having this baby right now. And so they figured it out, and they got me in a room, and they were like, okay, just stop pushing for a moment while we get you all set up. And I was like, whatever, I'm ignoring these people. I am having this baby. I'm in a bed now. I'm safe. Like, the baby can come out. And literally the doctor walked in, I don't know how much later it was. Like, it wasn't a lot later, but I did actually end up pushing longer than I thought, because it felt like it was going to I was going to give birth to him any second, but it was longer than I thought. And when she came in, she ended up saying, hey, his heart rate seems to be dropping lower than we'd like, and so we really need you to get him out in the next couple pushes. And so she's like, I'm going to actually give you an episiotomy. And I was so bummed, but I also was like, whatever she thinks is right for the baby, like I'm gonna trust her. And so I ended up pushing him out like right after that. And it was kind of one of those bittersweet things because it was just an incredible moment meeting my son, and it was really cool. But they kind of like handled him a lot before giving him to me, and then his breathing, or he had like fluid in his lungs, I guess. So they ended up taking him into the NICU for a few hours, and they said that it can happen when a birth is just really fast, and it might be because we live in Colorado and just the air here, the air quality, the amount of air, all those things can kind of affect babies, I guess. And so it was just strange because after I gave birth to him, he was quickly taken away from me, and it almost didn't feel real. Like, it almost didn't feel like it happened. But it really was. Like, people say that birth is like the hardest thing, but I also feel like it was just the most incredible thing I've ever done. Like, it was truly, it felt like, I'm not athletic at all, but I would compare it to like running a marathon or something that just really challenges you mentally and physically, but is also like a really rewarding thing and really empowering thing. And so I would just say, for me, it really was empowering, and I loved the adrenaline of it, honestly. It was just the craziest thing that had ever happened in my life, and I'm so happy with the way things turned out. You know, would I have done things maybe a little differently? For sure. And you can hear about the things I did do differently in my next birth video when I talk about my second son being born. They were both just incredible experiences in their own ways, and I'm so grateful to be a mom and so grateful to have the honor and privilege of giving birth. And so thank you so much for watching, and I hope you like this video, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.